Hello everyone, we have done the volume 1 and volume 2, also understood the advanced outlines of certain words, did the practice of the same along with the commonly used phrases. We have already started the volume 3. In today's session, we will understand the short outlines of these words and phrases. We'll do the practice of the same along with the phrases related to the words best and budget. And then you can continue with the dictation practice of transcription number 48, 49 and 50. 3 transcriptions. The speed will be 80 words per minute. Let's begin to understand the short outlines of these words. A lot of. ये तो बिल्कुल बेसिक आउटलाइन है. लेट्स मेक इट मोर शॉर्ट. अ को डॉट से बनाते हैं, लॉट ऑफ के लिए स्मॉल सर्कल बनाओ, इस तरीके से क्लोज बनाओ, डिसजॉइन रखना है, क्लोज बनाना है. अ लॉट ऑफ के लिए प्रैक्टिस एटलीस्ट वन लाइन. ठीक है. अ थिंग इस तरीके से है, 2 डॉट्स बनाओ इस तरीके से. अ थिंग के लिए अ थिंग. क्लियर है. एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट, अभी आप किस तरीके से बनाते हो? एज एम को डबल कर दिया मैटर के लिए, देन फैक्ट को इस तरीके से, केस स्ट्रोक को हाफ किया टी के लिए, इसी तरीके से बनाते हो. लेट्स मेक इट मोर क्विक. बिगनिंग का लो और फाइनल का लो. एज को स्मॉल सर्कल और ये केस स्ट्रोक को हाफ किया हुआ टी के लिए. आउटलाइन को क्लोज बनाना है और डिसजॉइन रखना है एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट इस तरीके से. ठीक है. एज अ मैटर ऑफ पॉलिसी इस तरीके से बनाते हो. सिंपल. एज के लिए स्मॉल सर्कल, पॉलिसी को हाफ कर दो और इस तरीके से क्लोज बनाओ पी स्ट्रोक को एज अ मैटर ऑफ पॉलिसी के लिए. ठीक है. एज अ मैटर ऑफ ड्यूटी है. ड्यूटी में यहां डिप्थोंग साउंड यू है. एज के लिए स्मॉल सर्कल और डिप्थोंग साइन इस तरीके से. ऑल ओवर दी वर्ल्ड इस तरीके से अभी आउटलाइन बना रहे हैं हम. लेट्स मेक इट शॉर्ट. सिंपल. सर्कल बनाओ और बीच में डॉट लगा दो. अदरवाइज सर्कल बनाओ और इस तरीके से आप डैश लगा दो. ऑल ओवर दी वर्ल्ड के लिए शॉर्ट हो गई आउटलाइन. ऑल ओवर दी कंट्री है. ऑल ओवर दी कंट्री शॉर्ट करेंगे. सर्कल बनाओ और बीच में इस तरीके से आप स्ट्राइक करो डैश को. ऑल ओवर द कंट्री के लिए इसे हम रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड के लिए और ऑल ओवर द कंट्री के लिए दिस. आइदर यू मेक दिस और ये दिस आउटलाइन फॉर ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड. ऑल ओवर द कंट्री के लिए इस तरीके से आप बनाइए. इज ऑल्सो बेसिक आउटलाइन है. इसके लिए स्मॉल सर्कल और ऑल्सो के लिए इस तरीके से क्लोज बनाना है. ठीक है. इज ऑल्सो. अवेलेबल इस तरीके से बना रहे हैं. आउटलाइन लेंदी है. लेट्स मेक इट शॉर्ट. बिगनिंग का ले लो, बी स्ट्रोक और एट वाला वॉवल. अवेलेबल. इन्वॉल्व आउटलाइन लेंदी है, 4 स्ट्रोक्स हैं. मैंने अपने मेंबर्स ओनली वीडियोस में बताया था एन स्ट्रोक बनाओ और वी स्ट्रोक को डबल कर दो. अब हम इसे और शॉर्ट करेंगे. एन स्ट्रोक बनाओ और वी स्ट्रोक को इस तरीके से इंटरसेक्ट. शॉर्ट हो गई आउटलाइन. इन्वॉल्वमेंट है तो इस तरीके से सिंपल फाइनल में मेंट लगा दो. अवार्ड है, अवार्ड इस तरीके से बनाते हैं. अवार्ड डेटेड है, डेटेड के लिए सिंपल स्ट्राइक कर दो इस तरीके से डैश को. अवार्ड डेटेड. सिमिलरली जजमेंट डेटेड है, जजमेंट किया, देन डेटेड के लिए इस तरीके से स्ट्राइक कर दो आप. स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग मैक्सिमम वर्ड्स में क्या है? बिगनिंग का लेना है और फाइनल का लेना है. लूप बनाया और इंग का स्ट्रोक. एसटी का लूप किया है, देन इंग का स्ट्रोक स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग को रिप्रेजेंट करने के लिए. फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट. बिगनिंग फर्स्ट को हम किस तरीके से बनाते हैं? इस तरीके से लूप बनता है हमारा फर्स्ट. देन अबव द लाइन बनाना है. फॉरमोस्ट में फाइनल का एसटी का लूप ले लो फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट के लिए. ठीक है. विद अ व्यू. विद यू किस तरीके से? हम इस तरीके से बनाते हैं. विद अ व्यू है, फाइनल में डिप्थोंग साइन, साउंड कौन सी है? यू की है व्यू में. ठीक है. तो इस तरीके से बनाओ विद अ व्यू. मैंने अपने मेंबर्स ओनली वीडियोस में काफी वर्ड्स ऐसे बताए थे जिसमें हम कंप्लीट वर्ड को डिप्थोंग साइन से भी रिप्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं. Those who want to join the membership, click the join button. Now what you have to do, take the screenshot and I have attached this board pic at the end of the video also. Practice each and every outline. At least one line or 2 line, that will be sufficient. Then I am going to show you the pick of the phrases related to the words best and budget. Practice those phrases also, and in certain phrases there are more than 1 or 2 outline. I suggest choose the shortest form. Then get ready for the dictation of these phrases and these words. Then you can continue with the dictation of these transcriptions. In the members only videos, I have given certain tips that to be followed before taking the dictation of the paragraph. You don't have to take the dictation of all these transcriptions in one go. I suggest first you take the dictation of the first exercise, translate it, and then you can move on to the next one. And to make it easier for you, I have included timestamps in the description so that you can directly jump to each exercise without manually forwarding the video. In members only videos, we are doing the practice of the phrases and the advanced outlines in various other ways also to get the more perfection. So let's continue with the practice of these words. Hope you have done with the practice of the advanced outlines. Now these are the phrases related to the words best and budget. Some phrases having more than one outline, I suggest choose the shortest form. Practice the same and then get ready for the dictation of these phrases with advanced outlines. So let's begin with the dictation. Best of your ability is also budget documents. A lot of budget speech. Best of their ability. General budget involve all over the world. Best of our ability. Best of your capacity. Railway budget. Farmer's budget. A thing involve. Commons budget. Farmer's budget. Best of my ability. Involvement. First and foremost. Post budget. Best of my capacity. Best wishes. Best way of. Judgment dated. Award dated. All over the world. As a matter of policy. As a matter of duty. Budget documents all over the country with a view to standard of living. Budget proposal. Best of our capacity. With best wishes. Best advantage. With you. Best of your knowledge. Best way of. Defense budget. Budget estimates. Budget session. Budget discussion. With best wishes. Involve. Available. All over the world. A lot of. Commons budget. Best of their ability. Stop, translate and check the same and get ready for the dictation practice of transcription number 48. The speed will be 80 words per minute. Mr. Vice Chairman, the Delhi Corporation and the Congress Party and also the other political parties in the corporation, in the last corporation as well as in the present one, appointed one committee from the corporation consisting of all the parties, which was to consider and decide what amendments they wanted in the Municipal Corporation Act. In the present corporation also, a similar committee is there which has been examining the desirability of introducing new legislation to amend and improve the functioning of the present corporation. That committee is deciding and considering this issue and its proposals and suggestions will be sent to the Home Ministry very shortly. The Home Ministry is also very anxious that various amendments should be brought forward and that the act should be improved so as to make the corporation very effective and efficient. The Home Ministry have asked for suggestions and proposals from this committee, and the committee is also anxious about it. That being the case, I think that this bill may be postponed pending the consideration of all the suggestions which will come not only from this committee but from the Home Ministry. The Home Ministry themselves have quite a few proposals in view to introduce so as to take care of the various lacuna that are there. Also, this committee of the corporation and the Congress party in Delhi, as well as other political parties in Delhi, are anxious to make their suggestions. All those suggestions from all the parties and this corporation committee have to be examined in detail by the Home Ministry as well as the other departments concerned, and there could be several suggestions by the ministry itself. So, when all those proposals come, then I think the whole bill should be taken up and one complete comprehensive bill should be introduced to take care of all the difficulties, shortcomings, and defects that there are in the Municipal Corporation Act. I may only briefly touch some of the difficulties that we have been facing for a very long time. I think the ministry is very particular that the power should be kept in the hands of the executive. All the chairmen are also absolutely helpless, so much so that this is a common talk among the members in the corporation, among the members in the Congress party who have to run some of the show of the corporation. The chairman cannot even call for a file concerning the particular department of which he is the chairman, whether it is the water and sewage board or the transport authority or the medical committee or the health committee or the education committee. None of these elected chairmen who are there have the power or the authority to call for a file and examine the papers. A conversation was going on among the members concerning this problem as to how to handle the affairs of their departments if they could not look at a file or examine it. One suggestion made was that the mayor might call for the file and the chairman might go to his office and look at the file, and then the mayor might return the file. I think it is a very ridiculous situation where you have all the 80 people sitting in that corporation hall with no powers at all. When the bill was passed and the corporation was established, I am very sorry to say it was a very nice toy given to the people of Delhi, with which they might strike their heads over, which they might quarrel and fight and deteriorate the whole business. It is because they have nothing to do, they have no powers. Then, as our experience goes to show, the machinery of the government is generally not so cooperative. The government are not at all interested in seeing that the corporation's function should be successful or efficient, or that the corporation should succeed. By and large, and very unfortunately, they rarely want that this whole show should be going well. They just as well want to enjoy the failures of the corporation and laugh over them and even propagate the failures everywhere in public and in private, here and there. It is very discouraging, very bad for the morale of the administration and the public at large. Unfortunately, it is like that. It is a fact to reckon with. It is a situation to be faced. Resolutions have been passed by the corporation for so many years, for 3 years, 4 years, and so on. But I think half of the resolutions have not been implemented. Provision has been made in the budgets for various things, but the money has not been used. The machinery of the corporation is not bothered about it, or is not serious enough or concerned about implementing the resolutions passed by the government. The resolutions passed by the corporation have certainly to be taken very seriously and implemented faithfully. There is no faithful implementation. The elected members can do nothing about this matter. Stop, translate this transcription in English and get ready for the another one. Transcription number 49. The credit movement in this country started in 1904, and it had its own difficulties since the last several decades. The main problem regarding cooperative credit has been that it has been untimely and inadequate. In 1904, the Cooperative Societies Act was passed, which was later amended in 1914. Then there were certain committees appointed, and they reported about the weaknesses of the credit movement in the country. In 1919, this subject of cooperation was transferred to the states, after which several states passed cooperative acts of their own. Thereafter, in 1929, the Royal Commission made certain inquiries about cooperation and the credit movement and made certain recommendations. Until 1950 or 1951, there was very little improvement in the field of cooperation. In 2001, the Reserve Bank of India appointed the Rural Credit Survey Committee, which brought out its report in 2004. That committee came to the conclusion that only 3% of the credit required by the agriculturalists in the country was being met by the cooperatives, and it made certain suggestions. It suggested that there should be an integrated credit structure in the country and said that there should be share participation by the government in the cooperative societies. It suggested that the government should take shares in the cooperative societies so that the cooperative movement can get strength through government participation. The second recommendation made by the Rural Credit Survey Committee was that there should be linking of credit with marketing, processing, consumption, storage, and all other fields of activity so that credit will develop marketing, consumption, processing, etc. Yet another recommendation was that there should be a training program for the non officials. The fourth recommendation, and the most salient one, was that there should be a three-tier structure of credit. There should be cooperative societies at the lower level, then there should be district banks, and then the APES banks, and that all the three should be interlinked. These recommendations were accepted by the Government of India. This report also recommended that in order to implement these suggestions, there should be a National Cooperative Development and Warehousing Board. The Government of India had accepted these suggestions in 2006. According to that act, there came into being a warehousing board which took care of the warehouses in the country, and also the National Development Board which took care of the development of the cooperatives. It was first thought that the two boards should be worked out under two different acts, but as both the subjects were administratively under one ministry at that time, namely the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, it was thought proper at that stage that the same act should administer the National Development Board and the Warehousing Corporation. Thereafter, a separate department of cooperation was created and attached to the Ministry of Community Development, now called the Ministry of Community Development, Panchayati Raj and Cooperation, and it was decided by the government in 2010 that there should be two separate acts, one for Cooperative Development Board and the other for warehousing. In one of the papers submitted by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, on the basis of which the presidential order to create the Department of Cooperation was passed, it was suggested that these two bodies should be administered separately, and that is why we have now come before Parliament with this National Cooperative Development Corporation Bill. The other bill relating to the Warehousing Corporation will come up through the Ministry of Food and Agriculture after the bill is passed. Therefore, sir, the present bill is only an amending bill, and opportunity has been taken to have some minor amendments made in the bill. Firstly, the original act covered only agricultural produce, and agricultural produce had been defined in that act. And now, besides agricultural produce, any notified commodity is also being included. If government wants to include any commodity for which parliament is competent to legislate, it can notify that commodity and apply the provisions of this measure to that commodity. In that case, we will not have to come to Parliament again and again. Any commodity which is in the concurrent list and for which Parliament can legislate can be notified by government for the application of these provisions. The second amendment is about the functional committees. In the present act, there is no provision for functional committees. Now, this corporation has to deal with credit, processing, marketing, consumers, and all these types of items in order to boost up the cooperative movement. We found that there was a lacuna, and therefore we have suggested a provision to have functional committees. It is only an enabling provision, and after this bill becomes act, we will have functional committees regarding credit, processing, consumers, etc. Then there was no power of delegation. Stop, translate this transcription in English and check from the screen. Get ready for the another one, transcription number 50. Before I come to other points, I think it is necessary for me to deal with the substitute motion which has been moved by my honorable friend. Although it is in two parts, really it comes to this, that there is a suggestion that the coal target for the 11th 5-year plan may be revised upwards from the present 97 million tons. He said that this should be raised to 120 million tons and necessary transport arrangements should be made. If in our country our resources were such that we could find ourselves in an easy position, obviously we should always plan in a little easy manner our targets for coal production, transport, power, and some other basic things. But we have to take a realistic view. If our overall resources are limited, financial and the like, we have to make optimum use of whatever those resources are, and we have to fit in various competing priorities within the overall resources. This is a matter which was discussed at great length when we were discussing some days ago our 11th 5 year plan. The 11th 5 year plan has now been approved by Parliament after a very lengthy and a detailed discussion in both houses of Parliament. Howsoever tempting this idea may appear to be, namely that we should plan for more transport, for more coal, for more power, and for a number of other things which are basic, they have to take their chance and they have to be fitted within the overall resources that are available. It is true that when the first exercise was made about the target for the 11th 5 year plan, the working group that was entrusted with this task came almost to the conclusion that the figure should be round about 120 million tons. But I would like to share with the Honorable House the processes that were gone through before the figure was arrived at. What should be the total requirement of steel to maintain a certain tempo of development in the course of the next 5 to 10 years? We had to start somewhere. So we started with steel. With so much more steel, what should be the additional quantity of coal that has to be raised, not only to feed the steel plants but the additional transport that will be required for them? Therefore, I would differ respectfully from the suggestion, namely that it means only an additional rupees 100 crores for increasing the production of coal from 97 million tons to 120 million tons. If it were really simple, we could perhaps somehow or other find an additional rupees 100 crores, although every crore of rupees having been already taken into account, it will be idle to talk of such a large addition as rupees 100 crores. But it is not rupees 100 crores that would be required, but several hundreds of crores, because to utilize that coal, transport will have to be organized either by sea or by road or by rail. For the utilization of that coal, another heavy investment would be required in the form of consuming centers, in the form of other new industrial plants or power plants or the like. We must not be too much obsessed by the present difficulties. By all means, let us try to solve them. Let us not form an exaggerated opinion of the overall requirements from the temporary shortages that we felt towards the end of the 10th plan period. Let us not think radically in revising upwards the figures which cannot, I would repeat, be revised singly. They are a part of an integrated whole. That means really an upward revision of the total size of the plan by another 20% or so, which I think is a suggestion which I am afraid the government cannot accept. Therefore, I would submit that upward revision by that large quantity cannot be accepted, although it is tempting. If I take a purely administrative view, it is easy for me to say that this is a good suggestion and we should accept it. But we have to view that in the light of the overall requirements of the country, the overall capacity of the country to consume, and the overall capacity of the country to invest the financial resources and other organizational resources in order to be able to revise upward our total plan by that significant percentage that I am afraid is not possible. Therefore, this figure of 97 million tons, which has been mentioned in the plan, has been arrived at after very careful consideration of the various requirements. Having said that much on the resources position, I would like to say something about production. Honorable members have given a great deal of thought to it, and naturally, the discussion has been somewhat discursive and a little overlapping, which was quite natural when we are discussing such a wide subject. Stop, translate this transcription in English and check from the screen. For doubts, you can write in comment box and you can like, share and subscribe my YouTube channel. Thank you.